stablecoin liquidity continues to crank.
Brady, welcome back. If we were excited the last time we had you on for a DeFi corner, it's getting even better now.
It is. Yeah, things keep ramping up. It's very, very exciting. It's been amazing for the whole Hedera ecosystem.
Without question. So what do you have for us this week as far as DeFi and the HBAR economy?
Yeah, so we'll jump into the same template that we used. We've been using the last couple times that we've gone through this. So Hedera TVL is up to $353.6 million across all protocols, according to DeFi Llama, and that includes Stater Labs liquid staking as well. From the last time that we came up here and did this towards the end of November, that's up 113.2%. I think one thing that's important to note also is this is in US dollars. And obviously in US dollars, the price of tokens and HBAR over the last 30 days has gone up pretty substantially. So a lot of this is based on just the token price movements that equates to this US dollar figure. When you actually look at the HBAR figure itself, there has been a little bit of a drop. So I think what we are seeing is some people taking liquidity off of decentralized exchanges and other protocols and likely either holding it because the volatility results in impermanent loss. So they're maybe worried about having that liquidity locked up in a DEX, or taking it off to do some selling for profit, which I think is a healthy thing to have when the price has gone up so much. People are just naturally going to be doing that, especially if they've been holding through the bear and buying through the bear and accumulating. And so I see this as still overall a very positive thing. The DEX volume is up substantially as well from last time presenting. So $324 million in monthly DEX volume. Stablecoin liquidity continues to crank. When starting this DeFi corner with you, I think we're at somewhere around $10 million, and now we're up to 26.27.
Nice.
And that's in USDC, which is sort of the go-to native stablecoin on the Hedera network. We talked about this last time of trying to really understand sort of where that stablecoin liquidity is coming from. I do think it is institutional. The accessibility of USDC to retail users is a bit difficult to get access to right now, something that I think is trying to be overcome in terms of more integration to centralized exchanges and on-off ramps and things like that. So I do see this being more of institutions that are minting USDC. What is great, though, is even with those institutions that are minting USDC in these large volumes, we are still seeing massive increases in the amount of that USDC that's being locked up and made available within the DeFi ecosystem. So stablecoin TVL of USDC has gone up to 6.13 million. And we've observed that at Bonzo Finance also. So stablecoin liquidity in the USDC single asset pool for Bonzo is reached around $1.25 million, which is awesome. Stablecoin liquidity for lending protocols in particular is just so important because of the flexibility that it offers, and also just its stable nature. The types of sort of advanced DeFi strategies that people would want to be able to do with a lending protocol, in many cases, do rely on stablecoins. So we've been really happy to see that influx from a Bonzo Finance perspective as well. The token project circulating market cap is around 2.25 billion. And the NFT ecosystem market is around 154.6 million, which has gone up about 131%. So, I mean, as the HBAR rises, I feel like it sort of lifts all boats, and we're seeing that impact across the token economy that's fungible, as well as the NFT ecosystem economy. And I think that's pretty standard too when you look at sort of DeFi ecosystems that are on the rise. A lot of times that value does end up bleeding off into the other ecosystems that have assets in an economy. And so pretty standard or natural process, but also really great for anyone who's participating in the NFT ecosystem. The sales volume of NFTs has also gone up substantially by about 118%. That's 30-day NFT ecosystem sales volumes, about 1.9 million. We're looking at liquid staking with Stater Labs. The APY rate is about 4.56%. Last time presenting, it was maybe just a couple points of a percent higher. So that continues to fluctuate. Again, I think with people, moving HBAR funds around in particular, if they were holding HBAR X converting it back to HBAR for whatever things they're trying to do with that, I see as definitely a move that's taking place. And so in doing so, the APY rate is based on how much HBAR has been staked. And so as that gets removed or added, the APY is going to fluctuate. And so we've seen a little bit of volatility on that front. Native staking for HBAR is sitting at about 0.12%. It would be interesting to see if that rises, given the current state of the market. Maybe there's room for changes to that native staking APY, but I haven't seen or heard anything yet with regards to that, but that would be a nice sort of treat, I think, for the ecosystem.
Yeah, fingers crossed on that. I will say that, we've heard about this Hedera 2.0. I don't know what's going to be wrapped up in that, but it seems like they're trying to address some of the concerns that the community had. And of course, native staking has been one of the major concerns out there. So I'm hoping for some kind of change on that front at least.
Yeah, I hope so too. We'll see. I was going to say, yeah, Hedera 2.0, it's something I'm very excited about. Hopefully we see sort of that change. Everybody's kind of been anticipating it for a while, and there's lots of like rumors, I think, that are going around about where the renewed focus is going to be.
Well, we certainly know that it's a thing. We've heard Rob talk about it. We've heard Mance talk about it. Even Charles has alluded to it. So something's coming. We just don't exactly know what it's going to entail. So what do you have as far as highlights this week for DeFi?
Yeah, so for the DeFi ecosystem highlights, Bonzo Finance had its Cybernetics NFT sale last week. When the public sale hit, it took about 30 seconds for all of the NFTs to sell out, which we were very, very excited to see. There's a lot of demand for DeFi in general right now.
I tried. I didn't get a one there, Brady.
Did you try? Oh man, I'm
I
sorry.
tried. It's all good. No, that means we have a lot of people that are excited about Bonzo. It's fantastic.
Totally. Yeah, and Bonzo TVL is sitting at about $25 million now, which is great to see. And then, going back to the idea of the US dollar value rising based on the price, in looking at the HBAR value that's been supplied to Bonzo, we aren't seeing that drastic drop that we're seeing in sort of the overall TVL across Hedera. So we feel really good about that. I think a big driver of that is the fact that the pools in Bonzo Finance are single asset pools, compared to a DEX where you have to do token pairs, and
they're not concerned about impermanent loss.
Exactly, yeah. So I think that's what's driving sort of less propensity to be removing liquidity for Bonzo at least. So H Suite has a few updates as well. They've introduced some deflationary mechanics through an NFT subscription model that they've created. This deflation is based on dev activity and usage. So it sounds like they're going to be starting to sort of burn H Suite tokens based on the usage of the H Suite smart node protocol. They're also launching a smart app marketplace, which is really cool. I think sometimes it's hard to see, which apps are actually built on top of H Suite smart node network. And so having sort of like a single marketplace to go to that shows all of those applications, I think is a really nice touch. And then the introduction of these subscription-based NFT tiers. Essentially, there's these different tiers that it seems that they're launching where depending on which tier you are holding, you have the ability to make a certain number of node calls. And so there's like a initial app tier all the way up through what appears to be like an enterprise tier. So definitely if you're part of the H Suite community or interested, go check that out. Saucer Swap is doing their Lari Epoch 28 rewards, which started on December 3rd. There is part of that Epoch 157,000 HBAR, 83,000 PAC, and 10,000 HLQT tokens are being rewarded to users for providing liquidity. And then Saucer Swap's single-sided staking is up pretty substantially to 7.93% APY for a long while there. I think it was in like the 2 to 3% range. And I think just with the changes in the market and the buybacks that they do, that has increased pretty substantially.
So wouldn't that be tied to the amount of fees that they're bringing in? And since they have a lot more volume, they might be able to apply a little bit more of that to single-sided staking?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the fees are driving. My educated guess here is they're using a percentage of the fees generated to do those buybacks.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it is a percentage, because the volume's gone up, that's a larger percentage of buybacks than that they're participating in, which increases the single-sided staking. It does seem like they've done a really good job optimizing the mechanics of this as well, based on revenue, like you said. And was doing some napkin math on revenue generated, and I'd say SaucerSwap is probably one of the highest revenue generating protocols that are on Hedera, which is really cool to see, and I think just really important too for the health of an ecosystem. When businesses set themselves up in an economy, they obviously have to generate revenue and have a sustainable business model, and
Sure.
so looking to SaucerSwap as one of those protocols or businesses that's set up shop in this economy and is generating solid revenue is really cool to see.
Absolutely.
Hedera released a blog posting recently called "Are ED25519 Keys Quantum Resistant?" And so a couple product managers and engineers from the Hashgraph organization dive into quantum resistance for the keys on Hedera and really across all of Web3. And the short summary of that is that the keys themselves are not quantum resistant, but on Hedera, the hashing and encryption aspects of the network are quantum secure. And it's a really interesting blog post that sort of dives into some of the aspects of quantum resistance and sort of what adaptations are going to be needed to be made across all of Web3 with regards to these keys to just make sure that the entire Web3 space is set up for the time when quantum really starts to become a something that's mainstream.
It's certainly something we've gotten questions on in the past. Is Hedera quantum resistant? So it's good that they're thinking about these things.
Yeah, looking to the future, I think is great. I think that's gonna, I mean, especially with AI and a number of other technologies that are gonna accelerate all of these other industries. I do feel like quantum computing is going to become something that's more prevalent. Intel even has a like personal computer quantum chip now that can be used. I think there's probably a very limited number of people who have the ability to develop for quantum computing, but the fact that there's like a personal chip now that can be used for quantum computing is pretty crazy. It's coming quick.
And quick shout out to CLSQ, who also has quantum resistant chips that are going to be designed for not only that, but transactional Internet of Things. So shout out to that team.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, they've got it. If they're doing, satellites in space and other sort of things of that nature, I feel like that's an important aspect for sure.
Absolutely.
Sirio Finance, another lending protocol in the Hedera ecosystem, they are doing their NFT sale on December 12th and December 13th for an allow-list sale and a public sale, and they're doing that on Centex. So definitely go check out Sirio, the NFTs that they're launching. They're, again, a lending protocol. They use some AI risk management modeling and functionalities too as sort of a differentiator for their offering. And then Etaswap is an aggregator for dexes on Hedera, and they continue to build and launch new functionalities. The latest thing from them is selectable routes and then tokenless loading timeouts. So very cool to see them continue to build and develop things. One thing I would love, and I was chatting with them on X about this, is expanding beyond just the aggregation of swaps, but also potentially for yield aggregation, and that's something that they've started to look into. It sounds like so that would be really cool to see. That doesn't sound like there's any promises or anything yet, but would be a cool evolution.
And how do you participate in their protocol?
So Etaswap, you go to it's a front end instance, and essentially you can swap tokens that you have, and instead of just going through like a single DEX, they basically analyze what the slippage is across all of the DEX that exist on Hedera and give you the most optimal price based on the amounts that you're trying to transact.
All right, Brady. Well, thank you for those highlights. I do want to say that this isn't in the DeFi space, but in general, the volume on HBAR is up significantly. We've seen a max 24-hour volume of $7.5 billion. Some of those days, we've actually had higher volume than Solana, which is really impressive. Today, I checked it, we're at about half. So it's just showing the overall health for the HBAR economy is looking pretty good.
No doubt, and I did see that figure too of being greater than Solana in terms of 24-hour volume. Super impressive. Yeah, all of these tokens, I think that are the Dino coin meta is very real. You're seeing Algorand, XRP, Hedera, Stellar. So it seems like there's just a resurgence across the board of a lot of these projects that are focused on mainstream adoption, and then also being US based as well. It seems like that's a big sort of part of this narrative.
No question. The future's bright. Brady, thanks for hopping on today and giving us all the details.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brandon.